The idea of using the higher being and how to recognize the higher being and then beginning to use it for self-healing is just a recent video. I'll post a link to that below. And in response to that video, I got a nice comment that I want to read and respond to. I think this is very important, actually, and it may very well be something that people would prefer than continually doing the template. I'm going to keep doing that. That's how I'm learning what I'm learning. But at some point, I think teaching the actual steps is what people would be more interested in. How do I make myself feel better? Fine, Dan, template. What does it say? So let me read that comment. This is actually, it's a little bit different. What this has to do with dreaming and having the things you're looking for emerging during dreams or something like that. And I've got my own thoughts on this. And yeah, let's just get right into the comment and proceed from there. Oh, and my name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the channel. We are analyzing the esoteric secrets of antiquity. From Van Brewer. Hi, Dan. This was such a great explanation for the actual self-healing process and how to apply the template. And again, I'll put a link to that video below. That's where this response is on. One thing I keep coming back to, and I'm curious on your thoughts. I found in my own life that many times the life experiences I need to heal from become manifest in dreams, specifically dreams that repeat or are similar in theme. About a month or so ago, I kept having dreams about a person in my past, and the dreams were similar. I became aware of this and realized I was having similar dreams a few times a week over the course of a few weeks. I also realized I had similar dreams on and off over many years. At that point, I realized I had been suppressing experiences and feelings that I was finally able to experience in full and begin the self-healing process. Just curious about your experiences with dreams and thoughts on the topic. Regards, Van. Okay, yeah, this is so good because when we're looking for answers, we're told to listen. There's a point where I'm going to go way downstream. We're familiar with a Jesus teaching that is as simple as seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened. But what does that mean? There's actually that's a very specific teaching right there. However, what does it mean when people, it just sounds like a platitude, doesn't it? You look for answers, you're going to find your answers. But then if you go talk to people who use that same verse for their life and they apply it to their life, you see they're coming up with different answers. So you have to step back and go, okay, who's not discriminating here? What is really going on? What does it mean to seek and what does it mean to knock and have it opened? And here's the deal. Once we turn it inward, we find out that there is actually a process that is in place that is going to be revealing things to us. However, we don't know that. We don't know how it works. We don't see it. It's right there in front of us. And the biggest issue we have is we're simply not aware of it. I need to caveat something here. There's another part to this. You're seeking and knocking for righteousness' sake. It's not just seeking and knocking. That is too vague, isn't it? You're seeking and knocking for righteousness. It still fits the category, though, of people thinking that they're doing it. It's worded in such a way that it sounds like, oh, yep, it applies to me, doesn't it? It sounds good. It's for whoever the good guys are, and that must be us. It plays that simply. But if you really analyze what it is and understand that they're analogous terms like everything else in the teaching, you realize that you're basically, you are seeking and knocking. You have a desire for the bottom line truth. You want to know reality right there, and reality will emerge. The things that you are looking for will come to you. When you're looking for an answer that is a true, sincere, I need this for my self-healing answer, not does he love me or does she love me or something off like that. This is very spiritual, inner material. It applies to you and only you, or anybody else who employs it, but then that's within their mind. So at this point, what we're establishing is an internal desire to have answers that are going to solve our problems. But how do we see them? Okay, and then Van went on to say that some things were re-emergent in dreams, which there's a cyclical return of something right there. That sounds wonderful. That never happened to me. And I don't know why it didn't happen to me. I have had dreams here and there, but they were never of that nature. However, I did have other mental experiences which did reveal it to me, and it happened in a different way, and it happened during a waking state, and I think this is going to be common for people too. First of all, one thing that I can't move ahead without stating, because I've grown into the idea of how important this is just how busy we are compared to them. They had their all day, weeks, months, they had their lifetimes in quiet peace and serenity, other than, the sound of nature or the sound of voices. There, no radios, no power, no nothing like that. This is a storytelling culture, and these are massive compared to what we are looking at them. We're living in lives that are so dense, so thick, so full of so many things. We don't really have much peace of mind. I cannot emphasize enough, they had time that we don't give ourselves. Now, we can probably circumvent that. Yeah, we can. We don't need time. We don't need an entire lifetime to figure this out. We can figure it out quickly and say, here, just do this. Anyway, okay, so the idea here then is how, if I'm looking for answers, how do I know? So for me, my lifestyle, because of my personality, because of the jobs that I got and all of that, I lived a life that was very much remote. Even for many years, sometimes being a technician that drove to these distant radio stations, radio repeater stations, and maintained them. But I'm operating from a home location in a region that I'm responsible for covering. But I'm basically doing it alone. I'm in isolation. I'm not in a shop. So I have jobs. I have a good means of support. But at the same time, I have got time to myself. I'm not engaged with people all day long. I have free time to think what I want. I drive with no radio on. It's in silence. It's quiet for years. So a lot of my life was that way. And then, camping, going off on solo trips and whatnot quite a bit. I've always done that. I think that becomes a part of the called person though too. I think that's a personality trait, introversion. But then you can be introverted, but be stuck in a city in a cubicle farm. What are you going to do? You don't have that kind of time. How do you find things out? You're looking for answers still, but you don't have free space. You're constantly being engaged and bombarded. Your mind doesn't have an opportunity to be quiet. Perhaps dreams are one of those means. And I don't know. I don't know what your life is like, whether it's full or whether there's a lot of peace or anything. I'm just speculating here. I know for my own self, when I wanted to know answers, it was like the mechanism. It was like the mechanism when you're talking to somebody and you can't remember the name of a song or a movie or something like that, and you're thinking, okay, gosh, I can't remember. You know the one. Anyway, you finally quit, and then later on it occurs to you. It's kind of that same mechanism. The brain will work that way sometimes. Sometimes it occurs right to you. The same thing is happening in this process. We just have to learn to recognize what is coming to us. A lot of the stuff that comes to us are the things that you go, man, I'm looking for answers. I don't want that crap. Why does this keep coming up? That hurts. That's the damn answer. That's the problem. We don't like the answer. The answer is, here's your issue. Here's the problem. This must be resolved because it doesn't feel good. It's not going to come at you like, hello, my son, my daughter, sit up on my knee. It's not going to come at you like that. It's going to come at you like, I'm going to dig right into your heart. Here I am. You don't like me. What are you going to do? So it's coming to you. We don't know it. Anyway, I can remember being off on my hikes. I'd be hiking in the desert and I would think, God, I'd sit and ponder and I'd, kind of meditate, walking meditation. I'm not like trying to clear my mind. I'm thinking or I'm pondering. My mind is working in a certain way as I'm going through early stages of this kind of growth. And I can remember maybe sometime an hour or two later walking among the sagebrush and just not even thinking about things and suddenly becoming aware of the fact that I'm reliving a childhood experience that isn't okay. And I would be like, oh, That's the source of origin right there. Yeah, I was told what a piece of shit I was right there, and I just felt like crap. And there's whatever things like that come to you. That's how it would come to me, kind of in that memory thing. But it's almost like your mind gets so busy, you have to let it slow down. It has to go into receive mode. Dreaming, sleeping, yeah, your mind is shut down there. You're in receive mode there. I think that there's other ways of seeing things, but it's recognizing what is there. And then at some point you move along and go, you know what? I never had to ask for that stuff. It was always there all along. When you begin to ask for it, what you're really doing is becoming aware of the fact that it is there all the time. And that it is of the nature of a cause and effect, that there is a seed planted somewhere that is a life experience and a perception that continued to grow. Anyway, all of that, that'll be more part of the healing process, I guess. I don't mean to make light of that at this point. The healing process is very direct. When it is time to look at those memories, we don't just look at it and go, oh yeah, there's the issue right there. We go, okay, here's the issue. I see that memory coming up. No, I don't feel good about it. I'm going to go approach that. I'm going to use my higher being and I'm going to use my conscious barometer. Let's go. See what it feels like. Oh, God, it doesn't feel good. All right, good. That means we need to work on this. So we have this process that we're going on now. Then we come into the higher being and we start looking at other people involved, seeing where they come from, seeing the cause and effect from them. Where do they emerge from? What kind of this long-term cycle are we in? Not one isolated moment in time right here, but part of a series of things that we need to try to find a way to escape from. We need to be looking at things in a way that we begin to lose our personal, ooh, I am too hurt, individual victim attachment to the situation. Otherwise, we can't escape it. And, that's tough. People have been raped. Please understand when I say this, that I don't think it's an easy process. I think that it can be very difficult to go, yeah, I gotta forgive somebody who did that to me. And then I want to jump in here and stress the importance of understanding this material properly. You don't actually ever have to forgive anyone. You don't. What you have to do is change the way you're holding perceptions in such a manner that it is no longer hurting you. If you're successful at that, the forgiveness happens naturally. But you're not working at forgiving somebody. You're not letting somebody off the hook. That person gets let go once you've healed yourself. And we put importance to that once we understand cause and effect, that the energy of what we're holding right there is what is causing a continual experience that we are carrying with us. No, that won't be easy, I can promise you, but it's important. It'll make the difference in life. And then understanding somehow that we are a bigger part of something than not that just physical being down there is a manner that is helpful to get us there. So those are the kind of things we're doing when we're looking for the memories and we're looking to heal. The memory emerges. We don't like the feel of it. We recognize that we don't like the feel of it. That's what we want. We use mental processes to go look at it anyway. It's just an inner courage thing saying, yeah, you know what? This time the logic wins. I understand that you are hurtful and you make me scared. But I'm the one that made it that way. My thinking and my perceptions made it that way. So once I change my thinking and my perceptions, poof, you lose your power. There are times, though, where you might not, it's like, boy, I'm okay. I don't know what keeps happening. There's times you might have to go back and look for little memories and remember things. I call it chasing ghosts. What it really is unacknowledged memories from your childhood that you can go find. And if you find it and you sit there and you live it and you feel it and it hurts, it makes you cry or it makes you ashamed or something like that, that's how you find them. You go find those. When something's coming out, you ask, what is it? What's coming out of me? These are the things we're looking for. But then when they emerge, what do you do with them? It's coming out for a reason. Take that memory and go work with it until it loses its power, whatever that takes. To the degree that it changes, that you change your perception of it, is to the degree that it changes your life experience. And that's it. So it's in the person's mind. Anyway, okay. I kind of went off here a little bit. I think that's helpful, though. I think when people are looking, you're looking for answers. I think these are the things that we're actually looking for. They're there. Learn to recognize them. Learn to understand that hurtful stuff is exactly what you're supposed to see. And then you're supposed to work with it until it is not hurtful stuff. Then it goes away. Okay. Hope this video was fun. And maybe this is more fun than doing the boring template stuff anyway. Again, though, working through the interactions in the stories is what leads to this understanding. If you've made it this far, I'll go ahead and say this. It seems bizarre to me, but what I have here in this much detail and even more comes from currently studying and interpreting Genesis. How bizarre does that sound? I can honestly say that even though I can say that now because of where I've gotten mentally looking at it, and I realize now that it's the nature of the sequential material in the teaching, but that I never would have at any point in time in my life prior to now thought that I would get this pattern, this learning, this understanding, and this much detail out of Genesis. But in this case, yeah, I think that trying to find our answers, I think that when our minds are very busy, it's hard to see. But at the same time, if we can sit back and say, damn it, this keeps just making me mad over and over again. If you can ever step out of it and go, oh, that's what I'm supposed to learn. What am I hanging on to? It's been there the whole time. We just have to become aware of the fact that we are not looking at it like it's something, an enemy, that it is something that we put away, and we created it as our enemy by our emotional and by the mental choices we hold against it is what creates it. It emerges from us. And I want to be clear, because I know I get very clinical about this sometimes. I've made the adjustment with the analogs to the point that I'm very comfortable with saying sin and knowing that just means something that I'm holding inside of me that is not okay, that it needs to be dealt with in some manner so that it is no longer a part of me. It is something that I am holding on to, that is a sin right there. And that means that it could be something that, that I did, or something that somebody else did, or something that actually it could be something you like or something you don't like. Sin is actually a negative version of what you're hanging on to. There are positive things to hang on to that are fine. Those cycle around, and that's, love and things like that. We don't want to interrupt the flow of those. But when we're talking about this right here and that it's emerging from us, we're not talking about the idea that it is who and what we are, that it comes from our soul, spirit, anything like that. What this very specifically means is that we've had a life experience. We've judged that life experience. As time goes by, there has been more that's been added to it. It gets bigger and larger, and that is what continues to emerge from us. That we're not looking to assign fault or blame. We're looking to just see the mechanisms of what is there so we understand the tools necessary to work with them, to change it. We don't want that mass there. We don't want those perceptions there in place because they continue to hurt. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. What matters is that they're there now, acting out. Changing those is how we have to heal, but learning how to spot those. You might be thinking, I don't know why I'm acting out this way. You made a comment. What was the other one here? There was one about, I also realized I had similar dreams on and off over many years. At that point, I realized I had been suppressing experiences and feelings that I was able finally to experience in full and begin the self-healing process. Yeah, sometimes things are so painful. You can't even see them. And I had stuff that I had to work on that were very difficult that seemed to be from before my awareness. In utero? Yeah, That's a tough one. I mean, if anybody ever wants to talk about that, we can go there. I did do a video on it at one point. And then again, what I'm doing here is simply academic. Whatever I say doesn't matter. Nothing matters. It's academic. Somebody has to take it and go, yeah, I see what needs to be done. And my life sucks. And I don't want to deal with that stuff, but damn it, I'm tired of it. I'm going to go deal with it anyway. That's what happens. You know what? I added this on in the end. I think that when we desire really intensely, when we're looking for the truth of things, we find it. It's right there. We're operating right within that. We don't have the awareness of what to do with it and how to work with it, how to observe it, the different pieces of it and how it works, where it comes from and what it's doing and what we're allowing to happen, because we're simply not aware of it. We're just along for the ride. We haven't been taught to take charge of it. And that's what we're learning to do now, is to take charge of that life experience so that we're no longer simply along for the ride based on the perceptions of our experiences, but we begin to extract ourselves from that so we can get out of the cycles that we're in. We don't want to be there, but the only way to get out of there is to change the perceptions. But the desire to do that, yeah, it just seems like it's all there. Dreaming might be one of those states where it's like your mind is quiet now. You know what? I just thought about this too. Also in a dream state, your conscious is shut down so that things can emerge that might not emerge in your conscious state. That's too painful. One of my early learnings on what to do, this is an odd one. It had to do with an article I read on past life therapy, and I don't believe that there are past lives. I believe, if anything, there's a cumulative psyche that we all exist within, and that, some people may connect somehow with details in that makes it look like past lives, but, no, I don't. Yeah, I think there's something going on, but I don't think it has to do with anything supernatural. We don't have to make claims like that. But in this article, it was about a woman who had a lot of issues in life. It started off with her and her husband, or her and her childhood sweetheart, went to college together, got degrees together, worked in law firms, got married, had a child. Life was wonderful, but something started going bad. I don't remember all the details. Just to put it in a nutshell, they divorced. She lost custody. She somehow went wacko, lost her job, and was at wit's end, and nobody could figure out what to do. So this was kind of probably a kind of a desperation, past life. Let's just try something. At any rate, the guy did what he said. The guy who wrote the article said what he did was hypnoregression. And his story, anyway, and of course it's anecdotal. It's in a magazine, but it's, who knows? It's not written up in a medical journal, so take it for what it's worth. But it made sense to me anyway. What he said was that he would take a person through hypnosis, through past lives, and that this woman had talked about some things, hundreds of years ago, crusades and killing a woman that was pregnant, stabbing her with the sword, and these horrific things having done in a past life. But the person, the woman, when she came out of the hypnotic state, they discussed what went on, and that the guy said he had no idea about anything with respect to past lives, but the idea was that sometimes people have such pain in this life that they cannot face what has happened. And the past life gives them like a go-around to be not the one that is responsible for what hurts. And that in bringing the person out of the hypnosis and talking about it affected a healing. And that as things began to emerge more and more and come into the open, that healing and memories began to connect up again. In fact, this story, in the end, I recall that once they had brought out things and they had begun discussing some stuff that was just kind of far-fetched from the past, it was enough to somehow dislodge something in her mind to where she began to heal. They began to make progress. And all of a sudden, one day out of the blue, she said, "Doc, I'm great. I got my job at the law firm back. I'm, my husband and I are reconciling. And oh, by the way, I remembered when I was 5 years old, my uncle molested me." And So you look at that and go, you know what? I get that. Anecdotal or not, I get that. I see that that is a potentially experiential story that I could put myself into. Anyway, I found that to be very mentally important because it is a part of this healing process, I think, that there are times where literally people are so hurt. And I've had things that I've had to, that I couldn't explain about my own personality, some issues that I had. That there was nothing I could connect life experiences to except for what I was told about life experiences while my mother was pregnant with me that were some horrific things that seemed to have been the source of impact. And in working through and talking through that idea, the issues went away, which makes you go, I don't know if it's true or not, but it worked. I'm going there, you know. You do what's effective. You do what makes you feel better. But based on everything you said, it's still the same process in action. However, you're dreaming, but what is happening is through the dream, you're becoming consciously aware of something that is repeating and is letting you know something you need to examine. Then you examine and you heal from it. So we're doing mentally the same process as somebody who might be saying, oh yeah, I got this issue that I got to deal with, that they are aware of it. It might be that some are behind other barriers or something like that, but they all seem to be viable mental mechanisms that are doing the same thing, and that is bringing to our conscious what it is that we are, honestly. Yeah, right there. What I had is an issue, probably a bigger issue when I was really had a lot of turmoil in my life, was like waking up at 3 a.m. and having something going on that I couldn't resolve. I'd toss and turn and couldn't get back to sleep. And what I didn't realize at the time is that was the issue, the biggest issue that I had to resolve. I just sat there and sat in it, and it went, I hate this. I didn't understand that I was making it worse by doing that. You know, we get that way. We try to figure out, I see. And then it continually compounds, which creates more situations where I get pulled back into the same sort of a thing. I think when we're looking for answers, it's just a quiet mind, though. I'm sure there must be other people's experiences and stories. Sometimes they come to me later. Sometimes, like now, if I'm looking for something, it doesn't take long. If I think, I don't know why I feel this way. What's going on? I've got an issue. It doesn't take long before something occurs to me or I'm reliving a memory. I've learned to recognize that, and I've done it so many times now that it's kind of like a quick process. And before, it probably was too, but my mind was all over the place. I didn't know it. I didn't recognize it. I didn't know that's what was going on. I've had it happen enough now to make observations of it, and in doing so and in looking at it, it seems to happen very accurately and very rapidly. So that's why I think understanding the mechanics of it is what helps us do the actual real healing, treating it like it's something that is very mentally interactive as opposed to something that is, some spiritual thing off in the distance that, we're at its capricious, whimsical nature. You know, I keep ending this and then adding more onto it because I realize there's more to some of the things I say sometimes. Towards the end there, as I'm talking about, just being able to observe what your issues are, wanting to know what they are, and then allowing them to emerge. There's actually a considerable amount of work sometimes that goes into the mind before that can even happen. There has to be an incredible interest in wanting to know reality and having your own ego dropped. You have to be out of the modality of, I'm a victim, it's somebody else's fault. You'll never see what you have when that is happening. It's always going to be, you're going to be directed outward on the same issue, definitely, but you're looking outward, you're looking at the wrong thing. And it's the feelings, the ego, all of that comes into play that makes you not want to accept that it is yours. That is a difficult transition. It certainly is. I still struggle with that, but I generally, by and large, the reason I can have something that I'm looking for emerge from my past very easily is because I'm so accepting of what it is, and I'm so accustomed to being okay with me just being whatever I find left is just little kid self, man. I'm okay with all of that stuff. So I readily and willingly accept it. In the beginning, a person might have a hard time seeing what the issue is because they don't want to be wrong. It is hard to find the humility, the humble nature, the lack of ego necessary to really accurately look at ourselves and view ourselves. Okay, that's it for this video. I think I kind of wandered around, but at the same time, yeah, this is a part of that healing process and how it works, and that there's more to it. Yeah, the mind is looking for things, and that's what we have to work with. This is the playing field up here. We got to know how everything works. The better we know that, the more we can work with it. The more we think it's a nebulous mystery, the more it's going to be a nebulous mystery. All right. Love one another. I'll see you in the next video.